Just going to give it another 45 seconds. All right. Welcome, everybody. These last few days since the 10th have been very extreme for many of us in the physical experience that we all share, but also in the etheric fields. And they're coming together. There's no doubt about that. So there's a few things that I'm going to talk about. I'm not quite certain, but I know that as I get going, it'll come out. This is what I do. Obviously, the title mentions Franco and an update. And I just want to make it clear to everyone. This is the impetus for this transmission. I was actually going to spend the day on the couch and just chill. Having come out of massive lucid dreams again last night, kind of comparing notes with what I'm seeing people post and say and do. It's all related. And I know as I was laying there and I got this news that I had to get up and do this. So let's get started. First and foremost, we'll talk about Franco. I received a message from Kimberly just about maybe an hour ago. He has been taken by ambulance to the hospital. His breathing and his lungs were just getting too bad. And so she will keep me posted, and I will keep everybody posted. We'll talk about a few things. We'll talk about this. Before we get out of here, we'll take a few minutes of silent unification to give and receive, share and receive, in equilibrium, all the virtues of the soul with each other and with Franco and Kimberly. So you might want to stick around for that, because it'll benefit us all. So first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about Franco as a representation of the energetic patterns and how it all applies to us, because we're all connected. Some of you may know that, Franco has had full memory, unlike 99% of us, from the womb, not only of his consciousness as a human, but his consciousness before birth. One of the things, if you followed him over the years, you know that he had originally signed a contract to be here till 2040. And then a couple of years ago, he was presented with another contract that would last till 2077, which would put him like at 110 years old, give or take. The reason I bring this up is because at any moment that we exist here in this realm, we can only take a snapshot of what will come. And I think that's important to note. Franco may come out of the hospital expanded and healthier than ever, and he may not. He may transition by his choice. There's a lot of choices being made right now. And the choices that we make are all subject to change, just like our futures, so to speak, are subject to change. So, one of the things that we're learning is to obviously love and respect and honor and revere ourselves. And as we do that, there's a simultaneous reaction or effect that we hold others in a higher level of love, respect, honor, trust, reverence. So it's important to respect the choices of others. Everyone is sovereign. There's been a lot of talk about freedom lately. And we think that the freedom that we're, quote unquote, fighting for has to do with these freedoms that are being restricted on this earth, but they always have been. But really, it's an energetic thing. It's not, the physical part of it is secondary. We're being catalyzed, we're being triggered, if you will, by the restriction of our freedoms, or let's just say the truth that our freedoms have always been restricted on this earth. And now we've come into a higher level of awareness, and what this freedom, what this sovereignty is really about is the free energy of the soul, the free movement of the soul, the unobstructed motion of the soul. And it's much bigger than the freedoms that we're trying to expand on in our human experience. There's something much bigger behind it. And that is the freedom of the soul, excuse me, the freedom of the soul in physical form, which is far greater than being able to travel where you want to, being able to make your own choices about your body. It has to do with the embodiment of what we might call the higher self. Some would call it the soul in the human. I'm here to tell you today that I am my higher self. I am my soul. Truly. We all are, and we always have been. Every thought, word, and action that we take, we can take from the knowing that we are, I am soul. Meaning that many things that we believe to be part of this reality and immovable objects from this reality are not. We don't have to limit ourselves, and we won't when it comes to what the definition of freedom is. Because as we choose to act in the equal energy exchange frequency of the universe in this human form, as atypical as it may be, and as against conventional wisdom as it may be, when we act and serve self, each other, and the collective equally, we are acting as the soul. We are acting as the higher self. That means every single decision that we make, when equally serving those 3 points of the triad, furthers the truth of our reality in a way that's beyond our human comprehension. But we are not only human, we have enough awareness now to know that the way we build, transform this experience in human form is by every single personal decision that we make, regardless of whether it looks like it affects everyone and everything else, because it does. So what does this have to do with Franco? Well, it has a lot to do with Franco. Franco has served this earth for literally millions of years. He was on the architectural design team when it was created. He came in many different times as a drop-in, just to get a feel for what was happening. And then he chose to have this incarnation and be human, which is part of the reason that we're all here, is to be human, not to suffer as a human, but to transform and expand the soul through the human experience in the human vessel. I haven't told anybody this. When I found out about Franco, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. I guess it would be 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago tomorrow. And about 5 days later, when his situation from a physical standpoint began to get serious, I then let everybody know through a couple of videos that I did. One was to kind of talk about it, and then I went and laid down, and then I had a series of lucid dreams that I also shared with everybody. When I talked about that lucid dream, I got to the end of it. I woke up, I sat on the couch, I saw a flash of light, which was my soul present in the room. And then I saw some other things, which was basically showing me some things that I had talked about on that video. But it ended with me sitting on the couch. Now, this is awake, not asleep. And immediately, two of the people that are closest to me in this live sat next to me and told me that they were going to transition. Now, again, I'm not taking that literally. And again, everything is a snapshot of that moment and the trajectory coming from that moment. But these two individuals, two of the closest people to me, told me that in that moment that they would transition and that they would be here, but in a way that we've never experienced before. I think a big block for all of us has been trying to figure this stuff out. And there's something about not figuring it out anymore that actually allows it to expand. So let's keep that in mind. Let's keep in mind that, leaving behind the old paradigm is leaving behind everything that anchors us to it. There's a complete unknown that we have created and we're in now. And this unknown can only become known if we allow it. It's a lot like love, because it is love. You can love anything and everything. And whether in this experience it seems to love you back, it doesn't take away from the love. And the same goes for what we've created up to this point in time and what we're continuing to create by surrendering, or to borrow our friend's word, Emily, surrenderance, being surrenderance, the noun, being in a state of no expectation, no judgment. We can do this now because we are our higher selves, fully conscious in these bodies. And it's important to acknowledge that to ourselves. And it's also important to understand when we look at someone else and believe that they're not that we are basically telling ourselves that we are not that. Every single person on the face of this earth, no matter what we might think or how they might affect us in terms of a charge, one way or the other, is their higher self in a human form. And we're in a space now, in a shared experience now, where this knowing, this reality is unfolding. And as a result of that, we're going to see, and very quickly, and this isn't just coming from me, this is coming from the ethers, this is coming from many people that are putting it out one way or the other, even though they may not seem to be directly speaking to it, but we will see this very quickly. We will see physical transformations. We will see what we might call supernatural things. I just saw a post and it said, a belief is not just possessed in the mind, it possesses the mind. So we can be open with no expectation to every single thing that this universe has to offer in its infinite capabilities, understanding that at some level we can connect with the higher self that we are, not that we're reaching for in some external way, but that truly is what we've been seeking and finding within ourselves. We have free will, and our experience is most potentialized when we align that free will with what we might call the higher self will or the soul will. We've spent lifetimes not listening to it because of the ego attachment, which we understand, and to a great deal because of Franco's communications to us, that the ego was no longer supported. Early 2020, just before COVID, when the inverted matrix projection was turned off. Now the ego is only running on its own basis now, and it's fading and fading and fading. And we're watching this happen in our own lives and with those that we know outside of us, the mirrors. It's fading, fading, and fading. It's going away. Some people are going through fits and spurts of pain, of many different things. And some people might have it a little bit easier, it may seem, but that can change at any time. The important thing here is the word faith, the transitive verb to trust and believe, the verb that describes the soul, the free energy of the soul. I don't believe that the word hope exists in any dimension beyond this one. Hope is just the ground marked between doubt and faith. And like everything that's occurring day after day, moment by moment, one choice point after one choice point, there's always two options. And we can put different names on that. One could be faith and one could be doubt. The difference in our experience comes from what we believe to be possible. And I'm here to tell you from this day forward that we will all come into a higher understanding and a more pronounced knowing that we are our higher selves, fully conscious in ourselves. The doubts will disappear. The external experience will become more aligned and more true and more real. And it's driven by our belief, first and foremost, in ourselves. We are the universe, and there's a simultaneous connection between anything inside of us and anything outside of us. So I wanted to speak to that a little bit, and I wanted to speak a little bit to, and I'm doing this with Franco right here with me. This is a time for us to call on the power, the very power that we exercise to come here in the first place, because I can tell you that not everybody was lining up to come down here as they are now that they've seen what a value that it is to the soul and to the universe and to serving. We exercise this power to come down into an unknown, wildly polar duality, not actually knowing how it would go. And we can all attest to the word pain and the many other things that we've experienced. But we can also attest to the transformational impetus that these things served in our lives. We wouldn't be who we are and what we are today. And this universe is on the edge of its seat, watching us in reverence and love, honoring our courage and the wisdom codes that we're producing for the universal family. These are the things that we can remind ourselves of every single day when we look at these human conditional experiences, worries, strifes, griefs, and put them in the proper perspective. We are our higher selves, our souls, fully conscious in the human body now. We've all spent a lot of time running, but as we all have come to understand, life is a circle. It is a circle, and we will always come back. There is no level of success in this ascension because we are perfection. And our sensitivities are growing stronger. Telepathy, intuition, knowing, especially right now, as we've come into October, which signifies a new beginning. We're finding that our sensitivities are becoming more and more acute. We're just getting used to trusting, not doubting, and to running with this. And at the same time, we've got all this seemingly mass distortion being put before us and mass suppression, but we are our higher selves in the human body, fully conscious, and we can look at these things and understand their role. We all know the universe is set up, particularly in this realm, in a paradoxical manner. The paradox is the soul highway. It is a 0-point field. And so when I say we are not only human, and the excuse of, well, I'm only human, doesn't work anymore, it doesn't mean that the human is lesser. It just means that we haven't taken into consideration the other side of the paradox, which is we are human souls. And it's time to give ourselves some credit and give power to it, because that's how it expands. And we all want it to expand. Franco and many others that have been out there for quite some time, even as recent as Judith Kuzel yesterday, talk about 2035 or 2032 or 2030. It can be right now, right this moment. And it's driven by the individual choices we make one by one throughout our day that may seem mundane and unimportant, but they're not. Because each choice that we can make from the soul, the higher self that we are, fully conscious in this human body. And we're doing it. So if you will join me now, let's form a circle of life in this eternal moment. Let's all join hands and invite all of our spirit guides, angels, archangels, and soul family. And join in the equilibrium, all the virtues of the soul, sharing and receiving, which is extremely important, because it's time for the imbalances to go away. It's not going to serve us just to send healing. That doesn't serve us anymore. And you can just equate this to love, because it's all love. I can love the entire world, but if I don't open up to receive that love, then the imbalance continues. So please join me now in this circle of life as we place Franco and Kimberly, beautiful Kimberly, in the center of this circle of life, as a representation of us all. And as the heavens angels surround us all to mark this eternal moment with the flash of their brilliance from their voices, in equilibrium, we share and receive all the virtues of the soul: love, wisdom, courage, open-mindedness, truth and trust, selflessness, fearlessness, free energy of the soul and all its virtues, sharing and receiving in this eternal moment onto and from Franco and Kimberly. And just take a few moments of silence, and allow the higher selves that is the bodies we contain, fully conscious, to speak wordlessly into this circle of life. The golden white light with the rose-colored borders encompasses all in this eternal moment, as marked by the flash of brilliant light from the angels that surround us all, in love and light, in love and light, in love and light. Sharing and receiving in equilibrium, and we're all expanded. Endless gratitude, love, respect, honor, and reverence. All blessings to you and yours.